talk about that game, or I could talk about some nebulous concept like causation versus correlation, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to take the latter. Good morning to you. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into football and or hockey. I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. A's 11, Pirates 2. Like I said, would you like me to talk about anything else? You know what? In observing this game, saw almost immediately this was going to be one of the 54. For those of you who don't go way back with this team, Chuck Tanner, the late great manager of the last World Series championship team in 1979, used to say, and famously so, that out of your entire schedule, out of the 162, you have 54 games you're going to win, you have 54 games you lose, and it's what you do with the other 54 that determines how you fare. I've never heard a truer statement about this grand sport than that. Even the very best teams, they fall prey to this in one way or another. There's nobody that outright defies it. Now, you'll also hear how hard it is to sweep a team and that sort of thing, no matter how bad they are. And let's remember that as bad as the Pirates were the last 3 years, they would still end up winning 60-plus games. They won those against somebody, right? Okay, so Oakland won a game. Oakland won its first road game in a month, and Oakland won big. Who cares? Who cares? What they need to do is complete the series victory today at 12:35 p.m. at PNC Park, and that's pretty much all. Wait, there actually is one other thing I'd like to offer on that miserable game last night, and that's this. The home team went 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position. 0 for 13. This is bad. For this to happen in the course of one evening is unbelievably bad. You had people all over the bases all night, and you couldn't get any of them home with a big hit. And yet, this is going to sound really stupid, so be warned, it's not a problem for this team in the general sense. It's not a shortcoming of this offense. It's a byproduct. It's not a cause, it's a symptom. It's not a causation, it's a correlation. The Pirates aren't in any way, shape, or form equipped to address the problem of not bringing home guys when they're in scoring position. It's not a skill. It is something from which some players will kind of shrink from, especially in the bigger games. I'm a believer in that. I am not at all a believer that you rise above, you find some extra thing and you bring the guy home. There's nothing to support this. Not mathematically, not aesthetically, not in any way. I do not often find myself siding 100% with the advanced analytics community on stuff. I am way with them on this one. I believe in the absence of clutch. I believe you can become less of what you usually are as a hitter or even as a pitcher or in any sport. You can get nervous, but I don't believe that you can become more. You can stay yourself. You can stay within yourself. You can stay within the moment as opposed to letting the moment overwhelm you, but you don't rise up. So the Pirates' issue isn't that they stink with runners in scoring position. But if you don't believe me on that part, I'm going to give you some other numbers that maybe will help convince you. The Pirates' current batting average with runners in scoring position, and yes, this includes last night, is .259. That's 10th best in Major League Baseball. Not in the National League, in the entire game. 10th best. Pirates are 259. When the Pirates have runners in scoring position, they've come through with 199 RBIs. That's 9th most in the majors. They're a top 10 team in this category. But what ends up happening is a game like last night's will happen. And everyone will get obsessed over that one figure. Oh, for 13, this is a disgrace. This team sucks in the clutch. They choke whenever they're in tough situations. And it isn't true. Because the other thing that happens, the other night against St. Louis, the Pirates went 7 for 16 with runners in scoring position. Absolutely nobody anywhere mentioned it. You know why? Because the guy was up with guys on base and everybody was happy. Nobody went and tabulated anything. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot like how people don't call City Hall to say, hey, by the way, I just wanted to let you know, the garbage guys today did a great job. They picked up everything, didn't leave behind a mess. I'll be here if you need anything else, City Hall. Click. Nobody does this. You only call to complain. Now, do the Pirates have some kind of actual issue with their offense? Sure they do. Sure they do. But it's got nothing to do with anybody in scoring position. It's that they don't put enough guys on base to be in the same top 10 with the runners in scoring position. But here's something else funny. The Pirates also are 12th in Major League Baseball in batting average. Not with runners in scoring position, just batting average. They're 13th in the more complete stat of OPS, on base plus slugging. Now, can they do better than that? Sure, they can get into the top 10 in that category as well, or both of those categories. But when you look at the symmetry there between how they do with runners in scoring position and how they do in other situations, what is this saying to you? Yeah, they're actually better when they have runners in scoring position than in the other situations. So don't get caught up in narratives. Don't get caught up in stuff that you've been hearing maybe your whole life. Because one of the many beauties of advanced analytics, and I don't even know that this really qualifies as advanced, is that they'll dispel some stuff that we thought forever was true and we just accepted because we heard such and such TV or radio announcer repeat it through our childhood and as we grew up. But runners in scoring position is not the Pirates' problem, and it's not one that they can fix. They can become a better overall offensive team. I don't believe that'll happen until they make the call-ups that they need to make. When we come back, J1Q. This portion of Daily Shot of Pirates is brought to you by our friends at North Shore Tavern. That's directly across Federal Street from PNC Park. It's home of Steak on a Stone, an eating experience, underscoring the word experience. The steak is brought to you partially cooked on an 800-degree stone, and you do the rest. It's a ton of fun, it's a great meal, and it's a baseball atmosphere like no other in Pittsburgh. North Shore Tavern, right across Federal Street from PNC Park.
Your front door, your car, your bike, your computer, your gun. Safety is a habit. Every day you lock and secure your home and everything you want to keep safe. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Visit ProjectChildSafe.org. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Today's J1Q comes from Jordan Vlock, who's angry and says, hey, DK, how can the Pirates be serious about winning and keep trotting guys out there like Chase DeYoung and Rob Zastryzny? They don't matter, Jordan. That's the main thing to take away from the two of them. You know, DeYoung was called up because he's he's got an arm and he exists. And I don't know, let's just stop it. He exists. He'd been here before. He'd done some good things last year, which he really did, by the way. They were mostly underlying metrics, but they were legit. And Zastryzny, up until his past couple appearances, has been okay. But the other thing that doesn't matter, who cares what the score of the game was? You know, who gets embarrassed by a score in a situation like that? It's just one of those games that you lose. It doesn't matter. I can tell you that there's 0% of anyone inside the Pirates who gets bothered by the score in that situation. All they're thinking about, one way or another, is I don't want to use a pitcher who's any good in these last couple innings, or anyone who might mean something to me tomorrow with the day game after the night game. I want my good guys to get healthy. I want them to be fresh. I want them to be available. So if you put Zastryzny out there when it's already out of hand, if you put DeJong out there when it's out of hand, that's just good managing. Because you're making sure that this game that you can win, this series that you can win, will come with the option to utilize David Bednar, Colin Holderman, as many of those guys as you can have available, especially, by the way, I should add, with Roansy Contreras going today and with a lot of the inconsistencies that he's shown of late. You need to have people ready. I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if by the time I get to the ballpark and I'm covering this game for DK Pittsburgh Sports, that they'll have sent one or both of those guys down because they're of no use to the team today. That's the only reason DeJong even came back up, because they were in a similar situation. So this stuff just doesn't matter. Don't get caught up in bottom of the depth chart, bottom of the 26-man roster stuff, or the score. The score can be fun in certain situations. If you were to go into the stadium of the team that's the best in baseball and you were to beat their brains in 14-1 or something like that, maybe you've got something, but otherwise scores don't matter. It's wins and losses. Run differential's a nice little predictor, but it's just not that relevant. I appreciate the question, Jordan. I appreciate the passion behind the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Pirates, and we'll do another one tomorrow.